What got you in love with the property space?
I remember when I was growing up, I had one of these pragmatic grandmoms who said that, if there's one thing everybody needs, Mark, they need a roof over their heads.
Yes. There was a saying that says, if as a salesperson you find yourself speaking more than the client, you've lost the sale.
The trick of sales is understanding the human body. You've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. That means you look and you listen a lot more than you talk.
And I'm curious to know from you, in the South African landscape, are people selling their businesses? And if I wanted to buy a business, where would I go?
So if somebody wants to go and buy a business, they've got to first decide what business they want to be in. Then go research that business. Okay, and then start learning about everything about it.
It's because the sales agents say to us, there's 4 offers on this property already and you're the 5th one. And we're only going to accept whoever moves the fastest.
That's when you're buying with emotion. And that's where you make mistakes.
That's true.
Your car and your house, your 2 most emotional buys you will ever make in your life.
And they're like the most expensive purchases you will make. Hello, Resonate community, and welcome to the best and the biggest sales and entrepreneurship podcast in the whole wide world. I'm always excited to be you guys on episode, but today, I need you to grab your calculator, a notepad, okay, and a pen, because we're about to get in the numbers. We're about to get you rich. We're about to get you wealthy, because the gentleman I have today is really going to take us into the deep details around property investment, from literally high end to low end, because he's done it all. Thank you so much for joining me, Mr. Mark Berman. Berman. Where did I get Berman from?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I mistaken the R with an F.
It happens. At least you didn't call me L.
Berman. Mark, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to be talking to you today.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity.
It's a pleasure. I was telling you earlier that I talk a lot, so I can't wait to deep dive into the conversation with you.
Well, fortunately, I'm not exactly the biggest introvert, so I think this is going to go down well.
It's going to be a party.
It's going to be a party.
I can't wait. Okay, cool. So before we get into the nitty-gritty details, we have this thing on our podcast where we really try to get to know who we are talking to. So we have a fire out of questions so we can really know the person that we're talking to. Yeah. So my first question to you is, what is on your bucket list this year?
What is on my bucket list?
Yeah.
It's actually a very, very, very good question, because I've done a bazillion different things.
Okay.
Like skydiving and whitewater rafting and all these amazing things that I've done in my life.
Yeah.
So I think this year, believe it or not, I want to go to Hawaii.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
like a holiday laid out, just want to have some fun.
Just something different for a change. Go look at volcanoes. Instead of me being the volcano, I can look at one.
I like that. Okay, cool. If you were to swap careers with anybody for a day, what would it be and why?
So the career that I would swap for, I guess, this is actually quite interesting, is I'd swap with Tom Cruise.
Tell me why.
Because I want to fly a jet fighter.
Okay, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
So he flies helicopters and other fighter jets, and he flies and he rides motorcycles. And and it's like, I mean, for a day, can you imagine? Imagine just having that experience.
You wouldn't want to come back, would you?
Most probably not, to be honest.
You'd really just want to keep doing him.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
Wouldn't mind his bank balance either, by the way. It works.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just call me, please, if that opportunity ever arises.
Promise.
Please. Yeah. Just call a sister up. Okay. That is Mark Berman, everybody, the managing director of Sound Rock Integrated Property Solutions. When I was going through a profile, I was so impressed at the amount of work you've done in the property industry.
Sure.
In all different fronts. And I think what I'm really looking forward today for our conversation is kind of getting into it from an investment point of view, but also from a sales point of view, because we are a sales and entrepreneurship podcast, and we've got people who are real estate agents and people who are selling properties. And I know you've worked with literally from the agent to the developers and everybody else. Yeah. And I think my first question to you is, what got you in love with the property space?
That's such a good question, because I remember when I was growing up, I had one of these pragmatic grandmoms who
Okay.
said that, if there's one thing everybody needs, Mark, they need a roof over their heads.
Yes.
And when you're growing up, you don't really think about it. It's
Yeah.
not something that you like sit down every day and go, I'm going to get into property because
Yeah.
Granny said so. You kind of like just live your life. And then one
Yeah.
day you find yourself living in Cape Town and you're working for Milky Lane. I was working for Milky Lane. I'd done this whole trip where I'd gone through the fashion industry and I'd landed up after the crash of the clothing industry in South Africa.
Yeah.
I landed up working in Milky Lane in Sea Point. I was the manager. So, very important person.
FYI.
FYI. I can tell you how long ago it was.
Yeah.
The name Choc 99, the ice cream, the Choc
Yes,
99.
yes.
The reason it's called Choc 99 was it was 99 cents.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
That shows you what inflation's actually done to us.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I was working for them and I need to change my life. I can't do this. I had my own clothing label for a number of years which was as an entrepreneur, because deep down I'm an entrepreneur. That's who I am. And working for somebody in a managerial position was just nuking me.
Yeah.
So I went, I've got to change something. And then I just read an article, a little thing in the smalls in the newspaper. And I applied for a job as a business broker. And then I can tell you the story. It was an incredible, incredible ride. It really was.
Sure.
I went for a job interview at this place called Camden's, which was a real estate agency. And it was out Belleville Way. And I was living and working in Sea Point. So it was a little bit of a trek.
Yeah.
And I got the job. Like, it was the easiest thing in the whole world to do, to get the job. And like, everybody goes, gee whiz, that must have been hard. And I go, if you want to sell anything, as long as you've got a personality that works for you, you can't be an introvert trying to do it. But in this game, the way that it worked was that if you were selling businesses, you split the commission with the real estate agency on a 50-50 basis.
Sure.
So it cost them nothing.
Yeah.
They weren't exactly at risk.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, let's be honest. But thinking back on it now, I did have a ponytail and an earring in my ear at the time. So maybe...
What?
Yeah.
Was it blonde?
Two, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
That's an interesting image.
Interesting image. So I get this job working for Camden's.
Yeah.
And I've never sold a business in my life.
Yeah.
I understand a bit about business, obviously, from my track record from before, but I'd never sold anything. So it was like, how am I going to build this? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do to actually make this work?
Yeah.
So I took my business cards and I walked out the front door and I turned to the left and I turned to the left again and I walked into the first shop that was there.
Yeah.
And I said, hi, my name's Mark Berman. I work for Camden's. I'm a business broker. Is your business for sale? What do you think the person said?
Was probably no.
Exactly. See?
Yeah.
And then I went into the next shop. And what do you think that person said?
Absolutely no.
And by the end of the day, how many no's do you think I got?
Probably all of them.
All of them. And the end of the week?
Maybe one, maybe.
All of them.
Still no.
No, I'm telling you, I developed a thick skin, hey?
Hectic.
Thick skin, but I just persisted. And after about a month and a half, 2 months or whatever it was, I walked into a shop on Voortrekker Road in Parow. And I'll never forget, there was a little fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
And this Malay guy owned it. And I walked in there and said, hi, my name's Mark Berman. I work for Camden's. I'm a business broker, and is your business for sale? And this sweet guy turned around to me and he looked up and he said, as a matter of fact, yes, it is for sale. I want to retire.
So you go for 2 months without selling anything.
And
is it commission-based only?
commission-based only.
Oh my gosh. Not a lot of people last at jobs like that.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
And it's because most people just give up. But you see, the interesting thing about this is if I was selling cans of baked beans,
Yes.
I would have found a buyer and I would have sold him the can of baked beans, right?
That's true, because the sales cycle is much quicker.
So now I've got to find a purchaser. I mean, I was ready to buy a Lamborghini after he gave me the mandate. Then I realized that wasn't quite going to happen.
Yeah.
And I needed to actually find the purchaser for this business. And that in itself was a daunting task, because now I was going like,
Who's going to buy this
"Who's gonna
business?
buy the business?" So what did I do? I went back to the first person that I saw, and I walked in the door. I said, "Hi, remember me? My name is Mark Berman, and I work for Camden's, and I'm a business broker." And the guy said, "Yes, I remember you. My business is still not for sale."
Yeah.
I said, No. I've got a business for sale. Are you interested in buying?"
Oh, okay.
And he went, "No." So at the end of the day, how many no's did I have?
All of them?
All of them.
Yeah.
And the end of the week, how many no's did I have?
All of them, probably.
Correct. And the end of the month, all of them.
All of them. Shucks.
Anyway, about 2 weeks after that, like a month and a half later, I walked
Yeah.
into a shop and I gave my little spiel about who I am and whatever. And the owner turns around to me and says, "Actually, I'm interested." Well, not me, but my brother's looking for a business to buy.
Yeah.
So that's how I closed my first deal. Literally 3.5 months without earning
Jeez.
1 cent. Now, most people, when I tell this story, they look at me in disbelief that I would have lasted that long and even been that adamant that I was going to make it work. But
Yeah.
for me, I don't know if you've ever seen that cartoon where you've got the guy and he's digging with a pick
Yes.
and he's like this far away
Yeah.
from the diamonds
Yes.
and he gives up.
And then he gives up. Yeah.
And that's the thing about whatever you do in life is that
Yeah.
you never give up. You've got to keep knocking on doors because if you don't knock on a door, nobody's going to open it for you.
Sure.
So that was the beginning of this whole kind of industry
Yeah.
thing of how I got into it. And what's brilliant about this is that by the time I was 3.5 months into it, I developed something that I'd never had before,
Sure.
a network.
Because now you literally know all of those business people you've been running around. So should they ever want to sell, you would be the person that they talk to.
You got it, girl. That's exactly what happened.
Ah, that is so good.
So people started phoning me. I would come into the office
Yeah.
and there would be a pile of messages for me.
Yeah.
Somebody's cousins looking at selling their business, all these kind of different
Sure.
things going on, people looking for businesses to buy. All the other guys that were working, they're going like, "How come you so lucky?"
Yes.
I'm going, "Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I wore out enough pairs of shoes walking the streets of Belleville and Perro."
Yeah.
So that was like, but it was awesome though, because, when you go into a restaurant and the owner knows your name.
Yes.
So I would walk down Voortrekker Road in Perro and the guys would wave
my
at me and know who I was.
Gosh. And I'm sure everybody was wondering, like, who is this guy? Like, why does everyone know him so much?
Well, the real interesting thing comes in how I bridged over from being in the business broking side into the property side. Because that exact thing is what happened. I'd done 3 deals inside ShopRite Park in Perro.
Okay.
And I walked in there the one day with my little clipboard, kind of like, whatever it was that I had.
Businessman, salesperson, outfit.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ponytail and everything else.
Yeah.
And I'm walking through the shopping center and the manager, or the area manager, Jaime Levine, walks up to me and he goes, "Excuse me, young man. I see you in my shopping center all the time. My name's Jaime. I'm the manager here. What are you doing? I never see you buying anything."
Yeah. But you always here.
But I'm always there. So I said to him, "Well, the reason that you see me here all the time is because my name's Mark Berman.
Yeah.
My normal repertoire. I work for Camden's. I'm a business broker. And as a matter of fact, I sold 3 businesses in your shopping center.
Wow.
I think it was a hairdresser, it was a bottle store, and it was a home industries. I sold three businesses. So he was like, "How'd you like to work for Braun Property Group?" I'm like, "Huh? Who?" Now, I remember back in those days, we're talking
Yeah.
like 1993, 92.
Sure.
There were no cell phones.
Ooh.
So the only way you find out about anybody is the newspaper
Yes.
because the interweb was like in its I don't know, like in its infancy and stuff like that. It's not like
there wasn't the widespread yet.
it wasn't kind of like you couldn't www, you know. So I went, oh yeah, you know, I wouldn't mind working for Brawl, you know, but I want this retainer and I want a car. And
Okay. Yeah, because now you can call the shots.
And I'm calling the shots.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a great dream. Didn't quite work
Did they
out
give
that
it
way.
to you?
No, but I got to tell you the story. So,
Okay.
so what happens is he arranges an interview for me with Jonathan Brawl, the CEO of Brawl Property Group.
Oh my gosh.
I have no clue who this man is. Like genuinely no clue.
You just think it's somebody that is interviewing you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like Brawl must be the same as Camden's, a little house on the main road.
It's like a small business and okay. This is
my word,
interesting.
it was like so bizarre.
Yeah.
So it's a Tuesday morning. He's arranged the interview for me to meet Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dressed a little bit different to the way that I'm dressed today because the only thing that was different is I had a jersey on.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Takis jeans. I had a jersey that my mother knitted me, of course. You know, mother love. And I was so cute. Good you do.
So cute.
So yeah, so I and my of course my ponytail, my earring, and I used to smoke. I used to be a Camel man in those days.
Hectic. I feel like as you say it, I can picture you. I can picture it.
Yeah, but it's like the address of this place is on Bree Street in Cape Town.
So this is a business.
This is a business. I didn't have a cooking clue
Oh my God.
as to what I was in for. So I stand in the front of this building and I look at the address and I look at this building and I'm like kind of like rubbing my eyes going, is this for reals?
Yeah. Like why?
It's like a 10, 12-story building and there's a kind of like atrium, glass atrium, and there's one of these historical buildings, you know, Cape Town's filled with them, but the two things are joined together. Mm-hmm. And I'm like looking at this going, my heart's pounding. I'm looking at myself going, Houston, I think I have a problem.
Did you at some point think like I could have dressed better?
Oh, yeah, more than definitely.
Like I should have just like put on a suit.
I went like, why didn't I come past here before I had the meeting instead of just arriving for the meeting without checking it out? It was like bad preparation.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was there. Nonetheless, I went, okay, cool, let's do this. It's do or die situation at this point.
Does that make you more nervous now to step into this meeting versus like when you were on your way?
I think when I looked at that building and I saw what that was, my first thought was, I have to work here.
Oh, wow.
So I had to push aside every thought, every single emotion, every whatever, because I went, this is like growth straight up and vertical. This is not, little baby steps. Let's do one rung on a step ladder. This is
You're flying a plane now.
Yeah, from riding a bicycle, pretty much. Terrifying.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I walk into this building and there's polished porcelain tiles on the floor. Mm-hmm. Now, back in 1992, polished porcelain were for the elite.
Yes.
You know,
if you fancy people.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Polished porcelain. So I walk in there and I'm like mesmerized by what I'm looking at.
Oh, wow.
I get into the elevator, glass elevator.
Ooh. So everyone can see that you're on your way to this interview.
It clears the second floor and I'm like staring out the window.
My goodness.
I've got Devil's Peak, Table Mountain, Lion's Head, and Signal Hill, and the whole City Bowl in front of me. I'm like, Berman, I don't care what you do today. Yeah. You close this.
Yes.
You have to work in this place.
Yeah.
So now the pressure's on me. I mean, like I've now put hectic pressure on me with my ponytail and my jeans. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, what am I going to say? You know, working it out. Get out of the elevator, and I turn to the right. Mm-hmm. So on the left-hand side, I've got the mountain.
Yes.
The right-hand side, in those days, you saw all the way through to the harbor.
Oh, my gosh.
So I look over the reception desk, over the boardroom table, and out onto the harbor. And you know when you get that like dry feeling in your mouth, like,
Yeah.
like, how I'm here and now I've got to pull this off and I have to work here. There's like, in my mind, there is just no way that I'm not
Yeah.
getting this job.
You can't screw this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I walk up to the front reception desk. Don't ask me how I remember this person's name. Her name's Kathy.
Oh, wow.
Now, understand, this is some few years ago, okay? We're talking like 30 years ago,
Yes.
31 years ago. I still remember her. She walks up, she looks up and she says, "Hi there, how can I help you?" I said, "Hi, my name's Mark Berman, and I have an appointment to see Jonathan Brawley." That silence is exactly the silence that I got from her. She looked at me almost like in shock because like I'm meeting the CEO of Brawl Property Group and I'm in jeans, tackies and a jersey, ponytail and earring. I mean,
Oh my gosh. She was probably asking herself, like, what are you here for?
yeah, like, okay. So she says, "Okay, cool. Please take a seat." Of course, it's totally corporate.
Yes.
You know, the little corporate chairs with a little
Yes.
corporate table.
Yeah.
I go and I sit down and I'm going, I'm so out of place. This is ridiculous. Anyway, the best is still to come.
Okay.
Jonathan Brawley walks out. I mean, Jonathan's round about my height, maybe a little bit
Okay.
taller than me. Like jet black hair,
Yes.
polished shoes, like proper, and charcoal grey pants, white shirt, red tie. I mean, the guy is impeccable.
Yes.
And I'm dressed like this.
With earrings and a ponytail.
I mean, can you deal? So anyway.
What was his first impression of you?
Well, this is it. He looks at Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy goes, he turns around, he looks at me, and he does that, you know, the double take when you
Yes,
watch
yes.
somebody take.
Yes.
It's true, Bob. I thought, oh my word, I'm in trouble now. Anyway, what a gentleman. What an absolute gentleman.
Oh, lovely.
He walks up to me. He introduces himself, "Jonathan Brawley, please come through to my office." So his office straddled the boardroom. So from his office, I had the view of the foreshore. And he's interviewing me and he's asking me questions. And I think I'm like kind of like nailing this because I really want this job.
Yeah.
After 20 minutes, Jonathan turns around to me and says, "Mark, so I don't think property management is for you." And I died. I went, "No, this can't be." I went, "Well, you know, Jonathan," he says, "Mark, your personality, you know, you it's not really in your personality to do this."
Okay.
And I'm like, "No, but Jonathan, I can learn anything. I can do
Yes.
anything." You know,
I'm
you're
a
hopping,
fast learner, and now you're like showing all these strengths.
and I'm hopping bubbles. You know that thing where you're sitting there going, up,
Oh
and he
my
went,
gosh.
"Yeah, so I don't think it's for you." And he said, "However," he said, "my partner, Alan Wallace, handles and heads up the broking side.
Okay.
So I'm going to introduce him to you. So just give me a second." And he calls Alan across. So Alan walks on the other side from the other side of the boardroom.
Oh my God. So Ellen's in the building.
I mean, how's this for like, everything's just like the stars have aligned. The stars
Oh my
have freaking
goodness.
So he comes and he fetches me. And of course, introduce each other, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And then he walks me through the boardroom to his office. I nearly trip over my own feet and stumble over the chairs and whatever.
Oh my gosh.
But I go into his office and we have an hour and a half conversation. Hour and a half conversation. And he says to me, "You know, Mark, I have an idea. I don't have a position for you now. I've got to be honest with you. But I have an idea." He says, "Jonathan and myself are going through to Clanwilliam on the weekend. We're going to just do a little bit of a bosbarat. So on Monday morning, I'll give you a call and I'll let you know what the outcome is. So let's wait until Monday and we'll take it from there." And I thanked him very much, as one would, considering all the weird things that had happened up to this point. And I greeted him and shook his hand and I left. And I said, "Thank you very much" to Kathy. And I was on my merry way, staring at the mountain, going down the elevator, and off I was. And I got outside the building and I went, "It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
Oh my gosh.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
That's too long.
Oh, how?
That's too long.
How? I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I had to come up with a strategy.
Yeah.
So this is Mark's strategy.
Okay.
8:30 Wednesday morning, I pick up the phone and I phone Brawl. And Kathy answers the phone.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, Brawl Property Group. How can I help you? I said, hi, Kathy, it's Mark Berman. How are you? She said, I'm fine. How can I help you? And I said, please, can I speak to Alan Wallace? Now, in those days, of course, everything was analog. We didn't have all the digital things like,
Yes.
So the recognition of telephone numbers and whatever else it is
Wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. So she puts me through to Alan. She doesn't know whether or not Alan, when I left, asked me to do something or not.
Yes,
I'm just
puts
calling.
you through to him.
So she puts me through.
Okay.
So he answers the phone. Hello, Alan Wallace. I go, hello, Alan. It's Mark Berman. How are you? He goes, I'm good, thank you. And you? How can I help you? I said, yeah, I just want to know if I've got the job. The phone goes a bit quiet, and then he giggles, and he goes, it's very funny, Mark. I told you I'm going away for the weekend with Jonathan, and I'll phone you on Monday.
Yeah.
And, don't worry, Mark, just chill.
Yeah.
I said, okay. Have a great day, Alan. Speak to you on Monday. He said, cool. Cheers. Bye. Off we go. So I guess most people would have left it at that point.
Yeah. Because then it would have felt like you actually didn't get the job and they're just stalling you for time.
Yeah. So 4:30 in the afternoon, I phoned back again.
Of the same Wednesday.
Of the same Wednesday.
Talk about persuasion.
So he answers the phone. Well, Kathy answers the phone first.
Jeez.
Obviously puts me through again. Because she doesn't have this, why is Mark phoning Alan twice in one day?
Yeah.
Alan picks up the phone.
Oh my gosh.
I go, hi, Alan, it's Mark Berman. He goes, yes, Mark, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, Alan, I just want to know if I've got the job. He bursts out laughing. He thinks it's the funniest thing out. He said, Mark, you're the funniest person I've ever met in my life. He says, just relax, calm down. I promise you, I'll get hold of you on Monday. I said, no problem, Alan. Have a great rest of your week. I'll speak to you on Monday. So I waited for Monday. No,
Oh, you did?
I didn't. No,
Oh my gosh.
I didn't wait for
So
Monday.
when did you call again?
Thursday morning, 8:30.
Oh my gosh. And he answered again.
And he answered again.
And he told you to wait.
So what happens is obviously nobody's blocking anybody because
Yes.
they know there's no,
Wasn't Kathy at some point like, sir?
because there was no brief. Like, don't put Mark through was not a brief.
Oh.
It wasn't like he's
My
irritating me, don't
gosh.
put him through to
Yes.
me. Because there was no reason, So Alan answers the phone on Thursday morning, 8:30. And I say to him, hi, Alan, it's Mark Berman. And he goes, and I can hear him giggling. He's like laughing on the phone. And he's going, yes, Mark, what can I do for you? And I said to him, yeah, well, Alan, I just wanted to know if I've got the job. He was in hysterics. He thought it was the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Gosh.
And he turned around and he said, yes, Mark, you got the job. You start on Monday morning.
Wow.
That's how I got into the property game. That's how I bridged over from fashion to Milky Lane, from Milky Lane to business broking, from business broking into the property field. And I started on the Monday morning as a broker on the retail side of things. What's very interesting about that is we go back to the day I started business broking.
Yeah.
I knew zero. I didn't know the difference between a square meter and a floor to ceiling height. I had no idea what I was doing. So I had to learn everything real quick. And listen, it was tough because I'd kind of like left my old network behind.
Sure.
I'd taken a couple of months to build this network and now all of a sudden I've got zero network. So I've got to start again.
Sure.
So I started exactly the same way that I started before. Went from shop to shop. I started off right next door to the building.
Yeah.
And I walked around. I walked the streets looking.
Same strategy.
Same strategy. But this time, instead of saying, is your business for sale? I'd walk into the shop and go, hi, my name's Mark Berman. I work for Brawley. I'm on the retail side. Are you looking to expand your business or do you want to move? And that's how I started building things up.
You're such an amazing storyteller, Mark.
Oh,
I
thank you.
could listen to you tell stories so much. You have no idea what you've just done for me by sharing that story.
Ah,
Yeah.
tell me.
Off air.
Off air.
It's like
You see? Secrets. She's keeping
yeah,
secrets.
it's like off air. But so good. I think, the biggest thing you highlight is a couple of points. And the first one is that you see this environment. And I mean, a lot of people walk into environments that seem bigger than what they could have dreamt of. And then focus on the environment and become so intimidated that they literally now can't get the opportunity because now it's like you stuttering or you just feel so inadequate for the environment that you are in. And I love what you said, that you stepped in that environment and all that was in your mind was you have to get this job.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, you acknowledge that this is how beautiful it is, this is the standard, but that's not what you were stuck on. And for me, that's just like, that's it. It's like, don't get stuck in the environment, get stuck in your calling and in what you were supposed to do.
It's so easy. It is so easy to lose focus of where you're going in your life.
Yeah.
Because life has a habit of coming along and slapping you on the side of the head.
Yeah.
And after you've taken a couple of slaps, you're looking down and you're pretending that there's no life out there anymore because you're scared of getting slapped.
Sure.
Life's always going to slap you.
Yeah.
There's always going to be financial crises. There's always going to be another war. There's always going to be something going on. There's going to be an election. There's going to be a COVID. There's going to be wild things going on.
Yeah.
You have got to keep going on your purpose line to get to where you want to go and be relentless.
Yeah.
Relentless in pursuing it because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens out there. It matters what happens in here.
Yeah.
So if you keep positive about it, and believe me, I don't wake up every single morning going, life is in me and I'm ready to go. You have really, really rough days. We work on some really big deals and things go south. And then you go to sleep that night, or you try to anyway.
Yeah.
And then you wake up in the morning, you're going, oh man, do I really have to do this? I mean, I spent 3 years working on this deal and it fell apart. I don't know why I'm doing this. And you go, because you love doing this. Now get out of bed and get going. And you just get out of bed and you just keep going. And then the day gets better and things turn around and another deal comes in because you keep knocking on doors. Doors will always open.
Yeah.
And when one door closes, 5 others open.
Yeah.
That's my viewpoint.
Yeah.
That's the way
I
see
love that. It's so true. Was there any point, I mean, you called him several times after he said that he would get back to you on Monday. Was there any point where you felt like maybe I'm being annoying or maybe I'm being pushy? Because that's the excuse I hear a lot from people. It's like, yeah, I called that client yesterday and, they might think that I'm being a bit too much or like I might annoy them and then they might not buy from me. What was your take on that? Especially during that time.
That's a really good question. It's something that I run into as well. So it's not a question that I don't ask myself. So at that particular time, what was more important to me was being top of mind because the service that I wanted to offer was something that I believed they needed. So I'm offering to enhance their business and do something to help them.
Yeah.
Because I could see that I could do that. Most people think about the money.
Yeah.
And they're not focused on the product. And that for me is a classic salesman fault.
Sure.
Because what are we really trying to do in life? In life, what do you want out of life? I want 100 million rand. That's money. That's money. When they put you in a little box and they put you underground, you're not taking that with you.
Yeah.
And if you're leaving it behind for your kids and your grandkids and everything else, well, you're spoiling them and it's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Ask Warren Buffett. So what do you leave behind? You have to leave a legacy behind. And the legacy has got to be the empowering of people and making sure that whatever you've learned has been passed on.
Yeah.
So what do we do every single day is we try and help people solve a problem.
Sure.
That's what we try and do. The motor car salesman helps his client solve his transportation problem. He hasn't got a car, or he wants a new car because his old one's done or whatever it is, and he's solving his problem. So he's trying to offer him the right product. So when salesmen fall down is when they're trying to convince the guy, you need this, you need this, you need this. Instead of asking him the question, what do you need?
Yeah.
And let me tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
So you will find when I go and I speak to somebody about doing a development or leasing their property or whatever else that they really need, I don't go in and tell them what they need.
Yes.
I ask them what they need.
Yeah.
And then when I sign a contract with them, my contract stipulates that I fulfill my promise to deliver to them what they want me to deliver to them.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest sale thing in the
Yeah.
whole world. I mean, have you ever watched, there was this little skit that I saw once on somebody trying to teach somebody how to sell something by using a pencil.
Yes, it's from a movie. I forgot it. Yes. Yes,
Wolf
Wolf of Wall Street. Yes.
You have a look at this. It's like, why do you need a pencil?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I need to write.
Yeah.
Well, then you need a pencil. So buy this pencil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the people lose the line where they're going, if I sell this pencil, I will make R1.50 commission.
Yeah.
So therefore, I need to make that R1.50. Instead of, why does the person really need to buy the pencil?
We focus on the money
Focus on the money.
and not on the product.
Money is just a statistic. How well you're doing with what you're doing, you will earn your commission, you will earn money.
Yeah.
So if you don't have money, it's because you're not delivering a product that somebody wants. That's all it is. It's so simple.
Sure.
People lose, they get so complicated with everything. Oh, no, these people don't like me. I'm not a good salesman.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a good salesman because you're not asking the question.
Yeah.
Ask the question,
Yeah.
you know. And you learn this, I have to tell you,
Yeah.
from women.
Interesting. Tell me how.
I was in the fashion game.
Okay.
So when a woman comes to buy a dress, the salesperson goes like this. Hi, you want to buy a dress? Yes, I want to buy a dress.
Yes.
What occasion is it for? What is the theme? What do you want to do? What do you want to look like? Blah, blah, blah. And listen.
Yeah.
And then goes, here, have a look at these 3 that I've picked out for you.
Yes. Nice. So they've done a needs analysis before they offer me anything.
And that goes for everything in life.
I love that.
Everything, whether it's you dealing with your parents or you're dealing with your children or you're dealing with this. Life is sales.
Yeah.
And the better you communicate, the more questions you ask, the better you can deliver the product. And then, obviously, you need to deliver the product. You
Yeah.
can't then just do this whole sales thing
Yeah.
and then not deliver. That would be suicide. But-
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like you have a child and the child's screaming. Stop screaming, you're driving me mad. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Parents going absolutely nuts. What's upsetting you? What happened? No, this. Oh, really? Well, I understand what happened over there. Wow, look at that. Look at the TV. Hey, can you see it on TV? Kid stops crying.
Yes.
Attention's on something else.
Yes.
But you asked the question and you listened. And you can deliver to the person what they want.
Yeah.
And I find it amazing that salesmen run this planet.
Yeah.
Without sales,
They are the most earning people in the world.
and without them,
Yeah.
nothing gets done.
True.
We've tried to do it online with online shops and all that kind of stuff. And what's happened in the retail industry? The guys are all coming back into the retail ambit
Yeah.
because people want service. They want to talk to people.
Yeah. That's
They want to
very true.
hear people's opinions. They want to. We socialize. We gregarious people. That's what human beings are.
Yeah.
So you want to talk to somebody. How do I look? You know,
Yeah.
it's the way that it is. You go into if you're a runner, you go into the sports store. What shoes have you got? Let me try them on. Take a couple of steps. They look nice.
Yeah.
The girlfriend's looking at the guy going, those are pretty hot, boy. And
Yeah.
he's going, okay, these are pretty swag.
Yeah.
But that's really the game. So my journey and the way that I operate is basically I ask people what they want.
Yeah.
If I can't deliver it, I will tell them. I won't lie.
Yeah. I love that. When I was in sales more than a decade ago, there was a saying that says, whoever, if as a salesperson you find yourself speaking more than the client, you've lost the sale.
Yeah.
So if you're doing most of the talking, they're not going to buy from you. They have to do the talking. And for them to do the talking, you have to ask the right questions.
And I remember I had this mentor. Her name was, shame she's passed, Vivian Hayward. We were in the computer industry
Yeah.
together. And she said to me, the one trick of sales is understanding the human body. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. That means you look and you listen a lot more than you talk.
Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And it's just so, it's actually simple.
Yeah.
But people like to complicate things. They want to go on 500 different sales courses and do an MBA in sales. And what they really should be doing is communication courses
Yeah.
and understanding their product
Yeah.
and becoming professional at what they know and what they do. You know, because salesmanship is communication. And I'm a salesman. I spend every single day of my life, obviously from a technical side.
Yes.
I've learned the technical side and I deliver on the technical side.
Yeah.
But I first have to get the agreement of the person to want to work with me. And very importantly, I choose who I want to work with.
Sure.
I don't operate out of desperation. Because when you operate out of desperation, your heart's not in it.
And people can smell it.
Oh, that fear,
Yeah.
it like
can
comes
see
through your
it.
pores.
People can see it.
Yeah.
Those are such valuable lessons you're sharing with us, Mark. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. So I wanna dial back a bit to the business brokerage that you were doing for some time, and I'm curious to ask you a question around selling businesses. I was listening to a podcast, The Diary of a CEO, and Stephen Bartlett was interviewing Cody Sanchez, and she was talking about how a lot of people are employed but are buying into these like low-end businesses like laundromats and all that kind of stuff to be able to make money and actually be millionaires and be rich while they're still employed. And I'm curious to know from you, in the South African landscape, are people selling their businesses? And if I wanted to buy a business, where would I go? How do I know where people are selling businesses in South Africa or in the African landscape?
There are business brokerages and things like that where guys are selling businesses. I think the model has changed a lot from where it was 30 years ago. The franchise model has become quite a big thing in this country. And if I have a look at me being an entrepreneur, you have a look, you speak to people and they go, I want my own brand, I want my own coffee shop, I want my own name, I want my own.
Ownership.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to put their own personalized stamp on something. And you ask the question, have you ever done this before? Because I always take things back to education. I had to learn about business broking when I did it. I had to learn about retail broking. And then every other step that I took, including all the developments and everything else that I've done over the years. I've studied project management. I've done 2 courses in project management. I've studied construction management. I've studied contracts. It goes on and on and on. Because you need to know how things work. And this is where the franchise model worked in this country. Because what would happen is somebody would get a pension payout. They would get their provident fund or whatever it is as soon as they retired or whatever. And now they didn't want to go stay at home and do nothing. So they wanted to do work. So the right thing for them to do is to go and buy a franchise. But it goes back to the same thing. You've got to research what's right for you. So if you go and you research and you go, okay, how many hours do I want to work a day? What is the thing that I like? Do I like food? Do I like to sell tires? Do I want to clean pools? I mean, there's so many different types of businesses that are franchised. And then what risk am I prepared to put in? And then start evaluating the different franchises and the different costs that go along with it. It is so easy to just go, oh, I'm retiring. I want to open up a Wimpy. But then what hours are you working? Do you want to get up early in the morning to do breakfasts? Or do you want to like only open at about 10 o'clock in the morning? You know, Do you want to work with food? Don't you want to work with food? So, everybody has their little thing, but they've got a default. The default, unfortunately, sometimes comes in that they think they know everything before they know everything.
Yeah.
It's like Driekus. You know what he said? Hulle weet nie wat ons weet. So,
oh, yes. Yeah, I heard that.
So the truth of the matter is you've got to know before you go.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it takes 3 months or 6 months before you actually make a decision. Just go, just tick all the boxes. Do a proper due diligence. And that goes for everything.
Yeah.
That goes for absolutely everything. So when somebody wants to go and buy a business, they've got to first decide what business they want to be in. Then go research that business. Okay, and then start learning about everything about it. So whether it's a franchise or whether it's a private enterprise that they're buying, when you get into the bigger side of things and mergers and acquisitions, the due diligences and things like that go on are immense.
Yeah.
They're immense.
Sure.
And they cost a lot of money because people are investing a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can't imagine like Sibanya Gold going to buy out another, like they were buying the stuff out in South America.
Yeah.
It's not like they went, oh, they're nice people. And I like the view from the... Let's buy it. We'll just buy their whole mining company. It was like they spent an absolute fortune using lots of professionals.
True. Very true.
If you want to buy a business, you need a team of people around you that you don't make the decision on your own. So you need your attorney. You need your accountant.
Yeah.
So we call that a power team. Power team of people. People that you can rely on.
Yeah.
Tax experts, all that kind of stuff, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
To explain to you how to do it. There's this thing that guys go, I'm going to buy the business, I'm putting my personal name. Why? Because if your business is in your personal name, then you're liable as a sole proprietor.
Yeah. So why would you?
No, you must put in the PTY. Great. Then what about your tax structure in the PTY? Like, do you have a holding company? Do you have a trust? How have you structured things to make yourself business and tax efficient?
Yeah.
We're not talking about avoiding tax. We're talking about efficiency.
Yes, and compliance as well.
Absolutely. The thing is, cheap is expensive. So if you go without these guys, it costs you money.
At some point, you'll have to pay double for them.
And it's better just to sit down, get proper financial advice, check out the guys you're working with.
Yeah.
Don't go, I've got my brother's aunt's cousin's brother's hamster who is now a lawyer who's going to explain to me. No, you go, you check out the guys. Yes, you have to pay them. Unfortunately, welcome to life. Guys with experience are going to cost you money.
That's true.
So best you pay the guys with experience because then you're pretty much guaranteed that the outcome is going to be the one that saves your butt.
That's true. That's very true. But so on the flip side, if I'm building a business to sell, what are the things that I need to actually be doing to make sure that when the time comes that I need to sell, this business sells for the right price?
So there are a number of things. In the sales of businesses, you want to have all your taxes and everything paid.
Yeah.
You want your books done.
Yeah.
You don't want funny money going around the side, and don't worry about it. I make 10,000 Rand a month in cash that I don't declare. That is not part of selling businesses and building businesses. I always say to people, your biggest problem that you have, this high level problem that you have is paying tax. What's the problem? Make money, pay tax. Who cares? Be tax efficient. I'm not saying just give the money away.
Yeah.
The receiver also says to you, be tax efficient. Claim for the things that you need to claim for and that you can claim for, etc., etc. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
But, do keep things legal. Keep all your company documentation, your taxes up to date.
Yeah.
Any other licenses and things like that you need. Like in our game, in the property development and in the leasing side of things, you have to be registered with the PPRA. If you're not registered with the PPRA, you can't operate.
Yeah.
Because no big organization will pay you a commission. And as a developer, I can't pay a leasing person a commission unless they're registered. That's the law. And that's not only to ensure compliance, but to make sure that the people are running within the law, that they have a Fidelity Fund certificate.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, that can be handled properly, and the
Yeah.
person can be disqualified if they're criminal and never be able to trade again.
Yeah.
So these organizations are very important. It bodes well for you to be part of them. So all the licensing, all those what I call rudiments have to be in, so that the person who wants to see your business,
Yeah.
the management accounts are up to date.
Yeah.
You get, here's the accounts, here's the management accounts, and then every single explanation. Obviously, you've got to be making a profit.
That's true.
One wants to make profits in
Yeah.
order to sell a business, so you're growing. If you're selling a business out of desperation,
Yeah.
well, you're going to get nothing for it. I mean, let's be honest.
That's going to be a big problem. Yeah. I like that so much. Something really got stuck with me when we started in the beginning, and you said that your grandmother used to say, you must always have a roof over your head. And that is, I think, what all of our mothers tell us, our grandparents, as we grow up. And we obviously see it in a lot of different communities where you get a job that's paying well enough, and the first thing we want to do is be a homeowner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's recently this trend coming up where there's all of these gurus coming up to say, well, renting is better than owning. And you would rather pay a rental if you don't have a stable. There's a lot of conversations around that. I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the landscape that we are in from a South African/African perspective. Is it better to rent versus owning a property? Or should we just fight our way through purchasing?
It's such a good question, because you don't realize how many aspects there are to that question.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm going to go back to the fact that every single person is an individual. And everybody has their own needs and wants and goals and everything else that they have in their lives. So you can't do a cookie cutter, one size fits all kind of scenario.
True, yeah.
So that's the first point. Then the toss up between buying and renting.
Mm-hmm.
If your short-term goal is, I'm going to live in Johannesburg for 2 years,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to move to Bloemfontein. I was going to say Cape Town, but everybody's moving there. So
Yeah. Because Cape Town is nice. Come on.
yeah, no, Cape Town's gorgeous. Cape Town's brilliant. As long as you like rain.
Yes.
And then you're fine.
And cold weather every other day.
Every other day, lots of wind.
Yes.
Brilliant. No, I love Cape Town. It's really cool. I lived there for a while, so I'm not going to knock it. But if it's a short-term goal and I want to, in the next 2 years, I want to be in Cape Town,
Yeah.
then you can't buy a property unless you've decided that you're going to be a property investor at the same time. And then when you move, you're going to rent out your property.
But so from a numbers perspective, is that because I was even telling you earlier that there are people who will do that. They'll buy several properties because obviously they've got the cash currently, and then there are rentals. So what's the right way to approaching being a property buyer that wants to eventually get into investing in property?
There is an organization called SAPIN, South African Property Investors Network. Okay, this organization, which I'm part of, is set up to teach people the fundamentals. First of all, it's all about education first.
Yeah.
So it's the fundamentals, all from structures like how you structure your portfolio,
Nice.
how to evaluate what to buy, how to do an offer to purchase, how to do conditions precedent in your offer to purchase, so that if you decide at the 11th hour and the 59th minute that you don't want the property, you've got an out.
Yeah.
So you're not caught because the estate agent never crossed out the clause. There's all these things, all the way to how to raise money, going through to multi-lets, to Airbnbs, and I've designed a property development course that goes in the back of all of this for guys that want to do property development. I take them through 18 modules of real life, how to do stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I interview QSs and project managers and town planners, so people get the real truth of how to do things, instead of read a textbook and then when you go out, it's impossible.
You still don't know how to do it.
Yeah. So for me, the first thing is always education. And this is where our South African home buyer falls short. Because the first thing is, but I didn't know. I asked the estate agent and they should have told me.
Yes.
No, ignorance is no excuse.
My friend Nicolette Mashile always says that.
Yeah.
You can't. You have to read the fine print.
So
And we don't do that enough.
No. And especially we've got this culture now where I'm a first-time home buyer, so I 100% or 110% from the bank, and therefore I'm just going to go in and I'm going to buy because I love it.
Yes.
When your home property that you're buying is not an asset, it's a liability. It's because it costs you money every single month.
Of course.
And it costs you rates and taxes, and it costs you electricity, it costs you everything.
Yeah.
So what you want to try and do with that is pay it off as quickly as possible so that you don't have that liability, and that then becomes an asset. So you've got an access bond, and you can use that that bond to go and buy something else or do whatever. But in the back of that, you've got to have your whole structure set up to be able to do that right from the beginning. And this is where people need to be educated. They don't know. They don't know how to do it. They don't know who the attorneys are. They don't know what it means, how much it costs. I'll tell you a classic story. So I was sitting with a young lady one day, and she comes to me and she says, I've decided I want to buy a flat. I said, that's amazing. She said, yes, I've got, what did she say? I can spend 8,000 Rand a month on the bond repayment. I said, that's really cool. So what are you looking at? No, there's this apartment that I'm looking at. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. It's got, they want 950, but I'm sure I can get it for less. Because it's been in the market for a long time, and I can afford that. And I said to her, okay, so let's do a due diligence. Now, funnily enough, there's some guys that I work with now who teach people how to do proper due diligences on properties, because when I started asking questions like, how much is the levy? She goes,
it's not factored in the 8,000 Rand.
It's not factored in your 8,000 Rand. What about your rates and taxes?
Yeah.
What about electricity? What about water?
Sure.
And then she mentioned to me, and they've got a special levy. Now, instantly, my alarm bells, because I've studied the Sectional Title Act and everything else. Like I said, I don't talk unless I understand what's going on.
I've done the education.
Yeah, so I say, special levy? For what? Oh, no, the real estate agent told me that it's normal. Yeah, exactly. But people don't know. They don't know. They need to ask, you see. They accept these people. They put them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And they assume that what they're telling them is 100% totally true. When I teach people anything, I always say, you the middle of the spoke of the wheel. You are the middle. Everything else comes out from you.
Yeah.
You know, if anything goes right, it's because of you.
Yeah.
And if anything goes wrong, it's because of you.
Yeah.
You can't blame anybody but yourself. So if the receiver of revenue is after you for tax, don't go to your accountant and tell your accountant what an idiot they are.
Yeah.
Go work out why you never checked the accounts and you didn't make sure that everything was right and why your books aren't up to date.
That's true.
You know, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But people like to go, it was their fault because you don't want to take responsibility.
Of course.
At the end of the day, when you sign that offer to purchase and you don't have any conditions in there, subject to a bond, subject to a proper due diligence that you are satisfied with, et cetera, and a whole bunch of things, and you get caught in the trap and you're forced to buy something that you genuinely can't afford because you haven't checked out what the levies are.
Sure.
You don't know what the special levy is and for how long it actually is there for. You haven't checked the balance sheet to make sure that the actual body corporate is solvent. And the list goes on and on and on. And by the time that I was finished speaking to her, she was like, what do you mean? I went, well, just go answer all the questions.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so much work. Yes. It's your biggest investment you're ever going to make for yourself.
It's educating yourself.
So if you want to take on that responsibility, then you want to buy.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take on that responsibility, feel free to lease because the owner has already done that.
Yes. But if you're too busy for it, can you get like a property management company to then manage the properties or facilitate the purchasing process for you?
I would never let anybody facilitate any purchasing process because I have to sign the document. And I would appoint the bond originator myself, meet them first, understand how their business works. People they put themselves under too much pressure because everything's a buy now.
Yeah.
So you've got to sign this within 24 hours. Be quick. You've got to do this. You've got to do this now. We'll use our bond originator. No, we'll do this. No. You can ask whatever question you like. You can take as much time as you want. It's not like in 2006 when the property market was overheating, where if you didn't buy on that day,
Someone else would
somebody
buy
else
tomorrow.
would buy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't exist like that anymore. There's no property development that I really know of that's sold out overnight.
Yeah, it's because the sales agents say to us, there's 4 offers on this property already, and you're the 5th one, and we're only going to accept whoever moves the fastest. And you've already envisioned yourself in that property, in that house, and. So I think that's why we want to rush quickly. And
that's
then
emotion. That's when you're buying with emotion,
yeah,
and that's where you make mistakes.
That's true.
Your car and your house, your 2 most emotional buys you will ever make in your life.
And they're like the most expensive purchases you will make.
Exactly. So
That
best
is so true.
take a deep breath,
Yeah,
count to 10,
yeah,
and say to the estate agent, oh, well, if they sell it, I'm sure there's another house that I'll like.
yeah,
As much as you're dying inside,
for the house.
you've got to push that back.
Yeah,
You've got to just take a breath, because you get caught up in it and then you make a mistake, and
that's very true.
then you get the bill for the levy that you didn't budget for, and now all of a sudden you can't afford food.
Yeah,
You don't want to be in that
you're in
position.
a very tight position.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that very much. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I even had a question and it just left my mind now. And I wanted to ask you about, oh yes, got it. So if I started buying 2 or more properties, would it be advisable to keep it in my personal capacity, or should I open a trust or a business that actually runs and owns the properties? Or is there even a difference?
I'm not a tax expert, but I'm
Yeah.
going to tell you how things from the guys that I work with,
Yeah.
the way that these portfolios are structured.
Yeah.
So normally what happens is you have a trust
Mm-hmm.
and you have a holding company, and then every property that you buy gets put into an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, separately, and then that is owned by the holding company. So it becomes quite tax efficient. Everything's open cards. You know where everything is. If you sell the property, the money goes up into the holding company. You can then disperse it from there. You can take it up into the trust and can go to the beneficiaries, or you can put it back into the purchasing of another property.
Yeah.
It's up to you how you want to play that game.
Yeah.
So I always say, go meet with a tax expert. Don't talk to somebody, like one of your mates sitting around the pub and you've had your 5th Jägermeister, 4th tequila, and you're now on it.
You're
now
getting
drinking
advice
and you're getting
on
advice.
property.
That's where the mistakes are made,
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, my last question for you is around retail.
Sure.
So we're seeing a lot of, obviously, businesses are booming, where people are starting online because there's this rise of social media. And then after the business booms online, people think, oh, I want to open a store and maybe let me get some presents. When do you think is the right time to decide to open a physical store and to actually get into retail?
Everything goes around profitability and business plans.
Yeah.
If your business is making money online, it works on a certain model. It's an online model.
Yeah.
And you're paying your fees to whoever is Shopify, or you're paying to any of the other guys, and you're also paying your delivery costs, your shipping costs. Everything's set up a certain way. PayFast is there. You've got their costs that run all the way through. The difference is you don't have a brick and mortar scenario. So you're not paying for electricity. You're not paying for, unless of course you're doing drop shipping, where you're actually using the warehouse
to store
stuff.
stock,
And then so the answer to the question really is that when you move over, when you've done your business plan and you've done your business analysis and you've worked out who your market is, and you don't take it as a leap of faith, but as an expansion of your business.
I like when you say you don't take it as a leap of faith, but as an expansion of your business. Because entrepreneurs take a lot of leaps of faith.
So entrepreneurs need this thing called a bridle. Like, you put on horses, you need to hold them back again.
Yeah.
So I've got a very, very good friend and a mentee of mine.
Yeah.
His name's Nao. And I was talking to him the other day, and we were laughing a little bit because he used to call me Dr. No.
Because you'd say no to everything.
Because I say no to everything. So he would say, Mark, no matter what I bring you, you say no.
Say no.
So I said, yeah, it's terrible, hey? I said, just wait. You'll see. Give it time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're talking, and what had happened a couple of weeks before that is he phoned me and he had said to me, I just want to thank you. I said, why do you want to thank me? I mean, it's like so out of character, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to thank me? He said, because you really know what you're talking about. Like, you know, when somebody says that to you, kind of like, you're a bit taken aback because you don't want it to go to your head, number one.
Yeah.
And the second thing is like, hang on a second, what did I do that made him say that?
Yeah.
He says to me, you know, I always used to call you Dr. No, and I'd bring you stuff and you just shoot it down. And as an entrepreneur, I just want to go. And I went, yeah. He said, well, a funny thing happened. He said a young lady in Soweto wanted to do a property deal. And she came to me to ask me my opinion. And he said, and I started asking her questions and carrying on. He said, and I very, very quickly realized that every single question that I was asking her were the questions you were asking me. And very quickly, I saw that what she was trying to do was not viable.
Yeah.
So he said, now I see that entrepreneurs are emotional.
Yeah.
They just want to go.
Very much.
And they don't see the pitfalls.
Yeah.
You've got to train yourself as an entrepreneur to hold back. Put your little checklist. Tick all the boxes and don't compromise.
Yeah.
And then you will win. Because the minute that you don't tick the boxes and you're going on your emotion, you're going to make a mistake because business is emotionless.
Yeah.
A $200 note doesn't care who owns it.
Whether they're sad, depressed, happy, crying.
Exactly.
Doesn't care.
And your landlord doesn't care whether or not you're having a good or bad day.
Yeah.
He wants his rent. And the city council wants their electricity payment. You know, and the person you're buying stock with wants to get paid. They don't care if you're getting divorced or you being kicked out of your house. They have zero emotion.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you this. Business is business.
Yep.
And you've got to keep that in mind. So as enthusiastic as you are and you want to get out there and you want to make a bazillion rand, it all starts with, what problem am I solving?
Yeah.
Am I solving somebody's problem?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to solve somebody's problem? Water in a bottle. Who would have ever thought we'd be solving somebody's problem?
Yeah.
This is the most incredible business ever.
Yeah.
Some entrepreneur decided that we're going to market water in a bottle. Not that it was needed at the time,
Yeah.
but they had this vision. And today, how many people drink water out of a tap?
Very few.
Because, sir, madam, would you like still or sparkling water?
Yeah. And then before you know it, your bill is like friggin' lots of
95
money.
rand
for a bottle
for
of
a
water.
bottle of water. For a bottle of
And
water.
you're
It's
just
free almost out of the tap.
Yes.
It costs you, I did the exercise the other day because
Yeah?
we're having this discussion with somebody. It's something like 0.004 of a cent for a glass of water, 500 mils of water, compared to this, which is 7.50 rand in the shop.
Gosh.
And why do we do it? Because we've been told that the water coming out of the tap is not good for you.
Yes, and this one is much
And
better.
that's much better for you. And the truth of the matter is,
Might not be.
read on the label where the water comes from. It's not spring water.
Yeah.
It's water that's been purified. So it's tap water that's gone through a purifying machine and put in a bottle. That's what you're paying for.
That's it.
So do it at home. Buy a little canister or put something on your fridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Save yourself 7.50 a time. Or what's it in the... The other day we paid for sparkling water. I think it was 95 rand for a 1 liter bottle.
Yeah, I
in
think
a
I know the
restaurant.
brand you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
It's like a very fancy schmancy brand.
Schmancy.
Okay, before the team switches off the lights, I've got one last question. And it's about doing a feasibility study. So I've seen a lot of businesses grow to a point where there is the need to get into retail. So there's a need to get a store at a mall, etc. But how do we know which mall, which shop size, and just all of that those nitty gritties to be able to make the sales? How do we make that an informed decision? What's
So
the matrix behind that?
There's tons of information. But if I was anybody that wanted to go into retail today, and I was in retail myself before, and I did the leap of faith thing, and trust me, I lost a lot of money. So I'm not giving you advice or anybody advice based on, I once saw a brick, so now I'm a builder.
Yes.
No, I've been there, done that, and got the broken T-shirt to prove it. But there's a lot of information. There is demographic studies.
Yes.
There are foot counts in malls.
100%.
All those kind of things are really, really important. And then
Yeah.
there's trading densities and things like that of the various genres of shops that are in the shopping center. The best thing for me is, see, it always costs money. I have to tell you, there's no such thing as I'm going to do this for nothing. I've got a friend called Dirk Prinsloo who's got a demographic study company, and I don't do anything without asking him to do a proper study for me on retail, industrial, commercial, whatever it is that I'm doing, even refurbs. If we're going to turn something from a hotel into residential, I'll ask him to do the study for me to see if the market will work or what rates or whatever that I must be charging. So, you know, and you say you want to be in what type of offering you have. I've got this type of offering. Okay, good. Let's see who you compare to. Okay, let's see where their shops are. Let's see what type of turnovers these guys could be doing. And then you get an idea of where it can go to. But the biggest thing about retail is service. It's not just the space.
Big time,
So,
Big time.
and the one thing that irritates me in retail is when you go into a shop and the person sitting behind the counter is on their cell phone. And they look up and they go, "Hi, call me if you need me."
Oh my gosh.
So the owner has got a manager, and the manager waits for somebody to walk in the door. I believe in driving business in. That means, like I knocked on doors, you need to find out where your clientele is and approach them, even if they're not in the mall.
That's true.
Whether it's by marketing or emails or WhatsApps or social clubs or whatever. Drive business in. If you're waiting for business to come in, it's not going to happen. You're going to be thoroughly disappointed.
That's true.
That's why online stores work from the point of view of you can drive people into your store from your online store. Come in, try it out. Come have a cup of coffee with us. Make it an experience, a bespoke experience, something that people want to come to. I mean, I want to go somewhere where I'm invited.
That's true. 100%. Where you're enticed to come in. And you already have an idea of what it's going to look and feel like.
Just imagine my little idea for the day. You get onto the person's online shop. Comes up there with a little ticket that says, "Come to our store for a free coffee with us." Or a free consultation or a whatever. So, yes, you join the database. Yes, everything else. But all of a sudden you've got a voucher, and where are you going to go with that voucher? Who doesn't want a free coffee? I mean, that's just the...
Oh, that is so good. Mark, I could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for joining us.
I think we have spoken. Isn't it pretty cool?
I think we have. I think it's like there's now, every time you speak, I've got so many questions and I just want to keep talking, but we're running out of time.
We'll do this again.
We definitely do have to. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
It's an absolute pleasure.
I really, really loved and learned so much from this conversation. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Sure. Mark, Berman, everybody, thank you so much for joining us, Resonate community. I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation as much as I did, and you were writing down notes, because there were so many things that we picked up. If you ever want any nuggets from this conversation, we're going to be putting all the other content on our TikTok and Instagram page and Facebook as well. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on our next episode. Goodbye.